Okay, so let's go ahead and go in and start working with the Lightroom Develop module. And you'll see that we've successfully built smart previews for 81 photos. And the idea is that the images don't have to be connected directly to Lightroom. When I use smart previews, the images could be on a drive and the drive could be disconnected, but I have the smart preview loaded into Lightroom so I can make all the edits. The edits will be loaded onto the smart preview, and then I can export that image later. And the whole point of this is the fact that the original image is not harmed or damaged. Okay, so we have, we're going to collapse this. We're going to look at the develop module. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the folder for color. And we're going to start by taking these images and moving them over into Lightroom, into the develop module, so that we can start working with them. So let's start with the first image here. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to go to develop. And so when I select it and go to develop, it's going to jump that image over into develop. And while it's in here, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, we'll start at the top, and the first thing we're going to do is look at the histogram. And so what we're looking at in the upper right-hand corner is a mathematical readout of the lights, midtones, and darks inside the image. And I can actually make adjustments by clicking in here. First of all, if I mouse over in the different regions, you'll see starting from all the way to the far right, this is whites, and then highlights, and then exposure, and then shadows and blacks. So if I click into the whites, I can actually adjust the whites inside the image, or I can click into the image and adjust the highlights, or click in the image and adjust the exposure, or click into the image and adjust the shadows, or click the image and adjust the blacks. So that's kind of a poor man's adjustment. I'm going to reset it. The backslash key is a reset. And then also remember that anytime I want, I can hit L to isolate my image on the screen, and then L to bring it back. Okay? So first thing we're going to do, now that we understand the histogram, let's look at the idea of shadow clipping. So the idea is if there's something in the picture that's too dark, I can clip it, and it means that that part of the image is it's too dark to print. And highlight clipping, that means that something's too bright to hold color. Okay, now we're going to come down. Underneath that, you'll see it says original plus smart preview. It says this image can be edited even if it's offline, and that's the advantage of using the smart preview. So I want to make this section a little bit bigger. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these areas on the left, so I can kind of crop that, get that off of there like that, and I can collapse that, drag this down a little bit, give myself more room. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at cropping. So I'm going to click the crop button. So it takes me into the crop overlay. So there's a number of ways to crop an image in Lightroom. One is I can just grab the handles and drag to create a new configuration. I can also click inside of the image and drag it around inside of those crop handles. The other way to do it is to set a custom, so I can shoot, or I can set it to a 1 by 1, or 4 by 5, 8 by 10, 8.5 by 11, and it's going to give me a dimension that fits that aspect. I can enter my own custom dimensions. I can go back to the way it was originally shot, and then I can just grab that custom frame tool, and I can make any kind of custom frame I want. I can constrain it to the original image. And another really cool thing about this is that I can adjust the angle. So if I grab this angle tool, I can just kind of drag it a little bit, and that will rotate the image. Anytime you want to reset one of these, you just double click. I can also click on the straighten tool, and let's say that I wanted some part of this image to be straight. This image is pretty straight, but let's say I wanted this hill to be the part of the image that was the horizon. I can just drag across that, then hit enter, and crop to or straighten to a particular part of the image. And that's how you crop. And then, of course, anytime I want, I can undo, Control Z, or hit the backspace, and that will take off the edit that I've made to the image. Now, when I export this image, the original image will not be damaged. It will export a new version of the image, but the original image is not cropped.